So,
I could get Yoda, but also like Jet Tree.
let's go for it. So what questions from this homework should we do?
Everything after like the stuff we learned.
Yeah, the last 4 problems,
through
those were
11?
like the review problems. I didn't get
I'm
those.
gonna ask you questions.
Oh, that's pretty interesting. So you guys did okay with 7?
Yeah, they're really easy.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think so. Can we like go over answers? Because I think I did okay, but I very well could have just botched
yeah.
them all.
We can put a couple of answers up, find maybe some things. Should we do number 4? I'll put answers for 4 and 6 up, and just so you guys can check them, and if everybody feels good about that.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just realized that I could be printing these off.
I need to find where in the book those are, though. So, oh, that was my mouse. Don't worry about it. Anyone heard that giant crash? All right. 6.5. Let's do 47. Number 4. For number 4, they want a differential equation and a regular equation, right?
Mhm.
Okay. I actually don't have the answer to that one right off the bat because I didn't do it last year, but that's okay. We can just do it together here. So number 4, if they give you K and M, that's actually all you need. But remember how you guys can have this in like several different formats, right? So, I mean, we just have to pick what format that we want to do. I mean, sometimes I use the KP. Well, which format do you guys want to use? I should probably just ask
I
you guys
use the KMP M minus P.
the KMP M minus P.
Yeah,
Isn't
K
it,
over M.
isn't it over M? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Perfect. Yeah, let's use that one. So then that literally means that your final answer for first part would be dp dt equals, and then you just put the K, which is 0.05, over the M, which is 200, and then put a P in there. And then P, and then you have 200 minus P. Everybody feeling good about that?
Yeah.
Good. And then the other one is where you'd actually have to do a little bit of work. So let me give a 6 right here, right? Because the formula is M over 1 plus A e to the negative KT, right? And so you'd have to plug in some stuff. This is where you have to say, okay, P is equal to M 200, 1 plus A e to the negative 0.05, and then T, but then they want you to plug in this point, right? P of 0 equals 10. And so then you put 10 here, 200, 1 plus A. And so yeah, you have 10 times 1 plus A equals 200, divided by 10, 1 plus A equals 20. And so A equals 19. So final answer to that would be P equals 200 over 1 plus 19 e to the negative 0.05t. So yeah, are those your 2 final answers for that one, peeps?
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. And then hopefully I have this one on my paper. So the other one I said was number 6. Is that the one about the guppies?
Yeah.
There we go. Okay. So number 6, guppies. Where is that one in the book? I'm gonna have to make myself a new hopefully I used all the same numbers. Did I do 150 guppies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was originally 6?
Yeah.
Yep.
So then I got my first answer for part A, where they want you to write the formula again, was 150 over 1 plus 24 e to the negative 0.225 t.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And then part B was how long will it take for the guppy population, what did I say, to reach what?
100 and 125.
100 and then 125? Okay, good. That's also what I had in here. So for the 100, I got 17.2-ish weeks.
Yep.
And for the other one, I got 21.2-ish weeks.
Oh, wow. I got really big numbers, but I probably could have done something.
Let's just do one of those then. We won't do both because they both are kind of solved the same way. So if you are doing the 100, right, which we should get 70.2.
Oh,
plug
I
that-
know what I did.
Oh, did you
My
find it?
K is different.
Oh, yeah. So it should be,
I don't know what I did because I got different answers, but I had the same
What were
formula.
your answers, Emma?
I got 10.05 and 10.62.
Oh, yeah, mine are still really off.
so yeah, if you want to know how to get the K here on this one, right, if your K is different, it's because they have the formula right now in that form that we have to just use, that Abby said that we should use for the other one, right? They have like 0.0015 P 150 minus P. And that means if that is your formula,
Oh,
your M is 150, right? And that means K over M is equal to 0.0015, which means that K over 150 is equal to that. So then you have to take the 0.0015 times 150. And that's how you get the 0.225. Is that okay?
yeah.
Cool. And then from there, we can solve this guy. So this is where, again, I just do the, did you guys, when we did notes, understand the whole flip-floppy thing, how I just divide by 100 and move that other thing up here, so it's just essentially this.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
And then you minus 1, divide by 24, ln both sides, divide by negative 0.225, and you get about 17.2 weeks. I won't go through all that though. Sweet. That's actually great though, that if you guys are good with the new stuff, I'm feeling really great about that. And actually the review kind of helps launch into some other things you're going to see in chapter 6 here. So I think that's really good. I feel like we hear Joel again.
Yeah, he has an online trumpet lesson right now, so I moved to a different room, but it's still really loud.
Oh yes, well,
I'll mute
Yeah.
myself for a minute.
no, you can't avoid that, so you're okay, Emma. If, we hear the trumpet, it doesn't sound bad.
Yeah, it's not super loud.
Support.
Okay. I mean, it was a college student.
Okay, so let's do
40 for you. The other.
What's number 8. And then after we do number 8, we can talk. Maybe we can do number 9. You guys do number 10 on your own or something.
So leave that one.
You guys ready for number 8?
Yeah.
Oh.
Eli, you okay over there? Is that Eli? Or who else are we hearing?
I have no clue what's going on.
So,
I'm trying to open up the homework.
are your glasses blue? They're black.
Dang it. Okay.
So peeps, for number 8, I mean, this is technically not a separation of variables problem, but they said you might need to use separation of variables, you might need to use Q substitution, you might need to do a bunch of different things. So I'm just going to multiply by dx over here and dx over here, right? So essentially what this does is it just gets us like this. I wish I had different colors on this one. Oh, I do. Sorry. Okay. So essentially on this one, we need to be doing this, right? But what is the invisible thing that's right here next to the dy? Well, it's a 1, right? So this side is going to be really easy to go backwards from, right? Remember, we're going backwards, we're taking an integral. This side, I think we're going to need a q. And once I give you guys those hints, I bet you guys will be able to help me out. What's backwards from just 1?
X.
Yeah, x, but in this case, since we have a dy, we'll just use a y, but perfect. And then backwards over here, we can't do this in our heads, right? We're like question mark, so that's why we need a q. What's a good q?
Sine.
Sine.
Oh yeah,
Sine X.
then dq is what?
Cosine X dx.
Perfect. So then we divide by cosine. So this is just we're bringing q back in, we're just reviewing it, we're feeling good about it. So we are going to do the integral of, and then cosine is still chilling here, and it's e to the q, but dq over cosine, so the cosines are going to go away. And what's backwards from e to the q?
E to the q.
Boom. So backwards from e to the q is e to the q plus c. And then I'm going to erase the q, and I'm going to put in my q again, which is sine x. And then if you notice, it gives you this thing, right? When they give you this initial point, what do they want you to do?
Plug it in and find c.
Perfect, plug it in and find c. So this is just, these are review, but it's been a while since you've done it. So plug in a 0 here, plug in a 0 here. What's sine of 0?
1. 0.
Good. And then e to the 0 is 1. Everyone, Mr. Grove is calling me. I'm going to answer and tell him that I'm on a call. Hey, Brian. Can I call you back? I did. It's been a little bit crazy. Can I call you back? And like, I'm actually still surviving. I have all my calculus kids on Zoom right now. We're doing little questions. Yeah, but I was like, I just wanted to make sure that I was like, no, I want to touch base with you. So I'll call you back as soon as I'm done. Are you free for the next little bit? All right, bye. As soon as I said that, he's like, oh, bye. It's fine. So what's c equal?
Negative
I
1.
think negative 2.72.
Nope. Just negative 1.
Oh, what did I do?
Because e to the 0 is 0, or e to the 0 is 1.
Oh, I think
There.
I accidentally had it as 1, like e to the 1.
Oh, there you go. Yes, and that would be 2.172. Yes. So then your final answer to this one is y equals. We're going right back to here, but we're putting in our c. So y equals e to the sine x, and then minus 1. Is that come back to people now that they've seen it?
Yeah.
Sweet. Let's do one more together, and then we can talk through a little bit of what you would do at number 10.
Can we also go through 11 or at least see what the answers were? Because I'm pretty sure I did that one wrong.
Yeah, we can do number 11 as well, for
Yes.
sure. We'll do 9 and number 11, but I think once we do 9, you guys will be able to do 10 and feel pretty good about it. So, yeah, good. Emma, we'll totally do that. Everybody good to move on to number 9?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
So dy dx equals this. Yep. Okay, so on this one, we do need to separate variables then. So the other one we didn't because all the x's were on one side already, and there's just a dy. But what are we going to do to get this set up right?
Divide by dy.
Multiply by dx and divide by quantity y minus 3.
Yeah, definitely divide by something, but I would divide by this whole thing. I like that because you can't just divide by a y. That would not be mathematically, it wouldn't cancel anything anyway,
No.
I guess. So there we go. So then we are going to have 1 over y minus 3 dy equals negative 2 dx. So as soon as you are kind of in this position, you should be thinking to yourself, we are going backwards, right? Because essentially we got to get rid of the dy dx kind of thing. This time, I think this side's easier. What's backwards from negative 2x?
Wait, why is it negative 2x if it was just negative 2?
Oh, you know what?
It's
I don't-
negative 2x.
Just kidding. It's -2, and then backward. I was jumping ahead. I did a step in my head. Backwards from -2 is -2x. I'll bet. Actually, we're missing something. That would be -2x plus.
C.
See?
And then here's the trickier one. What's backwards from this side? What's backwards from 1 over y minus 3?
ln
And
1 minus 3.
Yes. Put it in absolute value bars. And the only reason we're allowed to do ln is because there's no squareds in there, right? There's no weird powers. It's just got to be a variable with a constant. And the constant could be subtracted, it could be added, it could be multiplied, any of those things. But that's when you use ln. That's perfect. And then honestly from here, this is typically where before I get y by itself, I'm going to plug in this thing to see what we get. So if I plug in 0 for x and 5 for y, what's c? And we can leave it as terms of ln if we want.
Okay.
oh, ln of 2.
Yeah, so if you want to make it 0.69, you can, but I'm just going to leave it as ln of 2. So at this point, final answer, if honestly, if you had this, I would take it, because this just gets really gross. I mean, we could get y by itself. I'm not sure I want to, though. Everybody okay to just leave it like this?
Yeah.
Cool. Unless it would say to isolate y, which I don't think it does. It does not say to isolate y. So I'm leaving it like that. With that, do you guys think you'd be able to tackle number 10 now? Would that one make sense to move the y over and move the dx over?
Yeah, I think so.
Wait, how are we taking the quiz?
I'm gonna, yes, make sure I talk about that, but that's what, right after we do number 11, I'll give you my plan of action.
All right.
We'll see how it goes. Mainly because I'm gonna have to send out some serious emails, because you guys have all been keeping up with me, but there's some people who are getting dual credit who have not been on a Zoom call yet. And some of them I know are doing it because they've sent me like questions via homework, but some of them I don't know if they've done anything, and they're gonna have to take a quiz. So we'll see what happens. All right, number 11. You have $1,000 with which to open an account, which you plan also to add 1,000 per year. So actually what's nice is they're giving you all that information, but they give you this equation, which is actually really nice. So they're saying, okay, you got 1,000 and you're gonna be adding this all the time. And they're saying that this is this. Now here's what's really weird about this one, I think, everybody, is that usually we're seeing things in terms of like dy dx, and it would look like this. So we're going to kind of be treating this the same way. It's just that instead of having y and x as our variables, we have x and t. So that does get a little bit weird. I'm just going to admit that. Like the letters on this really kind of mess with you, because we're going to do this one kind of like 8 through 10. It's just that we have to get all the x's on this side, because the x's are like the y's, and we have to get the t's on this side, of which there is no t's except for the dt. So I'm pretty sure what I'm gonna do then, I'm thinking here, is part A wants us to solve the initial value problem. So that's doing what we just did for 8 through 10, but just with different variables. I think I want to multiply by dt, right? Get it over here. And I actually think I want to divide by all of this, because you can't just divide by x. And so this is going to be really gross, but I'm pretty sure what we want to have is 1 over 1,000 plus 0.10x dx equals plain old just dt, which means we do have the invisible 1 in there. But that started that problem is really gross. That makes sense why that's kind of confusing. Is that okay for you guys so far?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Now let's integrate it. What's backwards from just 1 dt?
T.
Or just be t.
Yep, plus c. And then what's backwards from 1 over 1,000 plus 0.10x?
ln.
ln of that.
Another ln.
Yeah, it's literally ln of all this junk. But here's where we do have to be careful. Because remember, if it's a constant being multiplied, I'm trying to think if we've got I think we might have to attach a dividing by 0.10, right? Because we'd attach a 0.10. I need to think about this. Because let's go forwards for a minute. Forwards from this would be 1 over this thing. And you'd have to attach the 0.10.
Yep.
And so, yeah, we have to get rid of that by doing, yeah. So I think that's what we got to do. So there we are. Ew. Okay. So now, again, instead of finding x, let's just go ahead and plug in our initial value. Is that okay for everybody? So here's what's weird. We're gonna plug in 0 for what?
X.
T.
That's what's weird. It's actually for t. So it's kind of like when y0 would equal something, we'd be plugging in the 0 for x, that first thing. So this actually gets plugged in for t. So we're gonna have 0 plus c equals, and then we're gonna plug in 1,000 for the x. What's 0.10 times 1,000? Isn't that just 10? Because it moves the decimal place twice.
It's 100.
Oh, never mind, because it's 0.10, not 0.01.
Yeah.
I'm so, my bad. There we go. So then, ln of 1,100, which we don't need the absolute values of ours anymore because that's a positive number. And then, wait, what's 1 divided by 0.1? Isn't that 10?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So that's your C. So the final answer to part A, if we didn't want to get a variable by itself, would be, actually I'm going to make this a 10 again. So it'd be like 10 ln of all this big gobbledygook, x equals t plus what we just found, 10 ln. Wow, I totally ran out of room. That's not helpful at all.
Yeah, I'm running out of room on my paper.
And there's no way to, you know what, I'm just gonna erase our original work because there's no way to scroll down on this one. I think I need to go back and adjust my Zoom settings. I think I took too many things away from myself when I tried to protect us from the outside world. So anyway, now we got 10 ln 1,000 plus 0.10x equals t plus the c, which we got was this craziness.
Which is like 70.
Oh, well, that's nice. Yeah, do we want to just get rid of this and make it 70?
Like there's like a decimals after it, but not much. It's like
Okay, sweet.
70.03.
Oh, good. Yeah, let's just do that then. That sounds great. Perfect. So there's this, and then part B is asking, in about how many years will it take the amount in your account to reach $100,000? So that means we're looking for T, right? Because it wants to know how many years. So where do we put the 100,000?
X.
X.
Boom. And 100,000 times 0.1 is just 10,000, right? So
Yeah.
then somebody, perfect. So then somebody take 10 times ln of 11,000 and then subtract 70 from it. And then we're going to have our final answer for T, even though it's all crammed in here. That was a weird problem, guys. Good work on that one.
23.06.
Yep.
Perfect. Years. Yeah, that one got weird with the lettering, peeps. I agree with that. Okay. So anybody need more time before I get out of the whiteboard thing? Okay.
Just so
good.
everybody knows, my mom got an email that Miss Harris sent out that they're postponing prom.
That's so funny. Like, that's not even on my radar. That's hilarious.
If they postpone prom, like if it gets to a point where they're doing prom in like June or July, I'm honestly probably just not gonna go.
Like, what's the point?
Yeah.
Okay, here's my plan for the quiz. I had to think about this, but I think this might be good, just help for me so I can get used to doing this for if I've got to do something similar for that. So my plan is I'm going to, here in a minute, post the quiz that's on the last 3 sections. So it's on this one we just did with all the things you guys do great with, the like logistic stuff where you find M and P and whatever. And I would usually give the equations to people for that anyway. So it is okay with me if you guys like, I wouldn't take it as a straight open note quiz, right? That probably won't help you at all, right? Because you won't have your notes for your test, even though we don't know how we're gonna do that. But I would, well, actually non-dual credit people, use whatever you want. But dual credit people, I would not use like your notes per se or like everything. But I would go ahead if you want and use the like just the equations and the formulas for the logistic stuff and whatever. And Newton's law of cooling if you need that or something, like any of those formulas that we used the last couple of times, they're there. So there's those 2 sections. And then the other section on your quiz is the UV thing, right? So anything where you had to use that UV formula, right? UV minus the integral of v du. Okay. So that's what's on your quiz. I'm going to post it here in a second once we get off this call. Actually, it might take me a little bit. Don't check for at least 45 minutes because I'm going to try to let this video upload first and post this first and then have the quiz be the last thing that I post so that people who are getting on can do it in order. But I think I'm going to have you guys take it. If you have a printer and want to print it, feel free. If you do not have a printer, because I would be in that position, I do not have a printer. What I would do is just on a sheet of paper, write number 1 and do all your work for number 1 and write your answer. If it's a multiple choice question, then you can just write the letter, and circle it. If it's a not multiple choice question, just circle your final answer, but you can have all your work on there. And then I'm going to have you guys take a picture of it and send it to me. All right. So if you print it, cool. Still take a picture of it and send it to me. You might have to take a couple pictures, and then if you just do it on your notebook sheet of paper, and I'm going to make your pictures due to me by tomorrow at 3 p.m. And I'll put that in the Google Classroom. And I mean, I know I could do that for later today, but then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have time to grade it then over the weekends. And I'll probably send people individual feedback on which ones they missed and put a quote unquote grade in the grade book for dual credit people. And for not dual credit people, I'm just going to put you did it, you get 100%, on it in the grade book. But that'll kind of give me, I think that'll help me get ready for rolling out a test at some point. And for right now, just so you guys know, they took away a couple of our spring break days because we're all sitting at home anyway. So the only day we're going to officially be on spring break is going to be Good Friday. So if Kaskaskia tells me how we're going to test by late next week, because we're supposed to have a Zoom meeting on Wednesday, I think, then we'll maybe plan on testing next week. But if that doesn't look like it's coming down the pike, then we'll just hold off on the test until after our quote unquote Easter break. But I'll probably give you guys some like AP packet to do in the meantime, or just actually something that helps you review for the final, right? Because we only have 3 sections to cover after this. So it'll be something that helps you out. I think that's what I do. Yeah, Eli?
Do we have anything else today?